Live from the heart of America, I'm Steve Gruber, ready to deliver an inclusive and diverse discussion on the most important topics of the day, giving you better analysis and insight than anyone else, fighting for freedom for you and America every day from the foxhole of freedom. Just when you thought hope was fading, here I am. Here are the three big things you need to know to start your day today. Number one, is the former governor of Texas and Secretary of Energy the next Republican to run for president? Sounds like Rick Perry ready to give it another shot. Not sure it's a good idea. We'll look at that. Also coming up, number two, in California, the governor there caught between reparations and everything else in his state. It's a big problem, I'll tell you that. And number three, what are we going to do from everything we've got going on? Number three is the corruption in our nation these days. Off the rails, it seems to me, and it doesn't seem to matter where you look. There are people willing to lie to us, no matter how obvious it is that they're lying. We're being lied to by politicians, which is to be expected. I mean, politicians lie all the time, right? So that's normal for them. Not for me and you, but for them, it's normal. And when every member of the president's cabinet is willing to lie about anything and everything, how are we going to have faith in any of it? Any of it. I mean, it's obvious the southern border is wide open with millions of people streaming into the country illegally, and yet everyone on Biden's team tells us day after day the border is secure. Well, that's clearly not true. The result of the invasion they claim is not happening. It is the destruction of American neighborhoods, the destruction of cities, the very fiber of who we are. They say that's not happening as people stream in and stream in and stream in from all over the world. Well, how about this? A Hispanic woman and grandmother in New York City says they're angry and scared about illegal aliens being dumped into the schools in their neighborhoods. Listen to this.
We're scared. We're scared. We don't know, and we don't have no concrete answers if these people have been in the process of being, if they check the backgrounds. We don't know if we're getting rapists, criminals, killers. We don't know anything. So we want to make sure of that. And what the community is asking, bring them to another place. It's not that we don't want to help them and we don't want them in our community. It's treat them with dignity. We don't have no showers for them. Where are they going to eat? There's a lot of issues here that they need to be looked at.
Yeah, we need to treat them with dignity. But here's what her big complaint is. You brought them to PS 188. You brought them to PS 188, and now it's gotten worse, actually. The playground there is now off limits to the neighborhood kids who will be forced to play in the streets. Why? Because the illegals will be playing on that playground, taking up all that space in New York City. Same complaints in Chicago and elsewhere where thousands of illegals are just brought in and dumped. Hey, you deal with it. Now, I don't think that woman there believes the southern border is safe and secure or that we need immigration reform. No, what she thinks, like most of us, is there's a huge problem. And everyone's lying about it. We need to close the border, build the wall, secure this nation. That's what she believes, like any thinking person. And the people that are actually supposed to hold the government accountable and the policymakers and the politicians, well, they're not doing their jobs at all. The national media is failing all of us right now, not doing the job that is so critical to keeping our government honest. The Durham report completely destroyed the entire Russia narrative that was pushed for years. But today, you'd have no idea how damning the Durham report was if you're watching the big networks. You'd have no idea at all. Kevin McCarthy calls for accountability for those that foisted the bogus Russia-Trump collusion story in America for years. For years. Listen to this.
Yeah. You had Adam Schiff, who was chairman of the Intel Committee, lying day after day to the American public that he had proof, that he knew the proof. Now we're finding in the Durham report his own staffer threatened witnesses. I mean, why is this individual still even in Congress, and why does he think he can even run for higher office after what he did? When you look at Hillary Clinton, she created this. Yeah. The FBI paid people and knew it was false. This is why we created the Weaponization Committee when I became Speaker. Yeah. This is what we knew about. Now we have even more proof about it. Now it's time that people have consequences for their actions, and you've got to clean this up where this can never happen again. Yeah. When you talk about the threat to democracy, this is exactly what we're talking about.
And
they
it divided
threatened the democracy of the American public.
And it divided the country so much, it's unbelievable wonderful that finally we get the Durham report and the mainstream media is blowing it off as if it's no big deal. The media also,
Maria, you got attacked for speaking the truth, for even just bringing people up to let them have their own say. That is an attack on democracy. That they would use every lever to try to silence information coming through the airwaves. That is wrong in America, especially when we have a First Amendment right. And now we have proof that government utilized themselves for political purposes to try to control who was running this country and going against the American people's vote.
The American people's vote, he's exactly right. Now, Kevin McCarthy has done better than I expected. Of course, I had zero expectations. To be fair, I had zero expectations about Kevin McCarthy. He's outperformed my expectations because he's done better than zero. But here's what bothers me. He should be angry. He should be engaging the cameras every single day more often, more often, more often. He should be pounding the podium like Nancy Pelosi did. He should be pounding the pavement like those dishonest leftists did when they were selling the Russia narrative to the American people. But it's not like there aren't some honest journalists willing to tell the truth. There are a few. I am. And there are others. And that's why the news landscape is changing. And people are now coming to listen to what I have to say. And independent reporters continue to grow while traditional outlets continue to fall and fail. I mean, the New York Times and the Washington Post won't even give back the illegitimate Pulitzer Prizes they were given for covering that completely fake story about Russia collusion with Donald Trump. They're hanging on to them. Somehow they think they're entitled to them. They stand by the reporting. False stories on a false narrative. Glenn Greenwald, who founded the left-wing Intercept and is the left-of-center journalist, says the national media ignoring the Durham report, well, it tells you everything you need to know about how corrupt journalism in America is today. Listen to this.
States. These were the people, Jim Comey and Andrew McCabe and Peter Strzok, who were in charge of the FBI, who steered the FBI to abuse its powers in the most extreme way, in the most corrupt way, in the most illegal way, to interfere in our domestic politics. Exactly what the U.S. security state was never supposed to do. The worst sin of the U.S. security state. That is what this report by a highly respected prosecutor documents in great detail. How is this not the biggest story in the United States? It is because they have purposely encouraged people to forget how dominant this scam was for years, how affirmed it was by every institution that insists to you that they are the guardians against disinformation, that you have to empower them to protect you from lies because they are the owners of truth.
They are not the owners of truth. I am. And you are. We're no longer going to trust the national media. We haven't for a very long time. We certainly aren't going back in that direction. CNN now barely has any ratings. MSNBC is falling. The big three networks are falling. Why? Because independent outlets like this one give you facts and let you decide. And the fact is the Durham report was incredibly damning to the FBI, the Department of Justice, the Biden administration, and all the Democrats, including Adam Schiff. We'll continue to cover this after the break. Welcome to it. It's the Steve Gruber Show.